today we're going to focus on some internal EORI things, particularly the WYRIT, Wyoming Reservoir Information Tool. Some of you are familiar with it. We've had it for a number of years, but we've completed a major overhaul, so to speak. It's considerably upgraded and refined, and we wanted to present that to you today. Those of you that don't know about WYRIT, it's an online interactive system that allows you basically to screen reservoirs with multiple parameters. You can go in and look for what you're looking for. It allows you to identify productive trends, exploration and development, evaluation, identification of IOR and EOR prospects, and a good preliminary planning tool. So we wanted to walk you through that, and we have two of EORI's finest to do that for you. Kellie, and some of you I'm sure know these people already. Kellie Vlastos is our GIS specialist that also does a lot with operations, technology, data, and outreach. And she'll be presenting with Shane Singleton, who's our basically our data architect. There we go. So Kellie came to EORI from the Wyoming Pipeline Authority, where she was leading GIS and continues to do that for us at EORI. Shane finished up some education work. He's had a lot of experience in the data area. He worked for Goolsby Finley prior to coming to EORI. So the two of them will walk you through this, and we certainly are open for all questions. That's what we want to make sure you understand how the system works. So I want to welcome you, and I'll turn this over to Kellie.
We're having a small issue with video for our Zoom attendees. My apologies to those folks attending remotely. Remote attendees, do you have a display up now? Okay, we're go.
And they can hear us?
They, believe it or not, they can hear us. We're not on that microphone though anymore.
Ready. Good morning. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Kellie Vlastos, part of EORI's operations and technology team, and I specialize in GIS mapping, data visualization, and application development. I'm excited to tell you about EORI's modernized Wyoming Reservoir Information Tool. I'll talk about the origins and importance of the map application and our goals developing it. I'll also show you some demos highlighting the app, and I'll show you the map interface. Some cool new functionality we've incorporated to improve the user experience. To help keep us on track, I'd appreciate it if you could hold any questions until the end of the presentation, and I'll make sure to leave time for discussions. Brief history. The Wyoming Reservoir Information Tool, WYRIT for short. It's a public-facing interactive mapping application, free to use and accessible from our website. And what you see in this picture are the oil and gas fields with the counties behind them. This is the initial view you'll see when the app loads. Wyoming already has a few great mapping applications focused on energy infrastructure, but WYRIT is unique because it is solely focused on screening Wyoming's oil and gas reservoirs from a 30,000 foot project planning perspective. It's an easy way to screen for production trends, possible IOR, EOR targets. The original WYRIT was published in 2015 by our very own senior geologist, Nick Jones, and he was the spark for the project. WYRIT is a popular mapping application, utilizes best practices, and relies on data straight from our data partners. We download the data, create custom symbology, and publish the layers to run on WYRIT. This allows us to easily update the layers and the app. Our goals, modernizing the program, were far-reaching. WYRIT needed a tech up. Most applications will need a major technology refresh every 2 to 3 years. 3 to 5 years. This is because of shifts in platforms, data standards, and user expectations, with the emergence of new technology or cool tools. Our goal was to create and manage the application in-house while continuing to collaborate with our data partners. And this was accomplished by obtaining data directly from the agencies that create and manage them. Downloading and working in-house gives us more control over the application and its layers. We created custom well symbology that represents the current activity of the well during the past 12 months and a history of the well at a glance. We also improved tools to interact with the data. Now, we did have some challenges to meet our goals. Managing the application requires robust server technology and administration. After all, this is what WYRIT runs on. And here's where Deputy Director Hillebush comes in. He created and developed our technology infrastructure. This allows us to host WYRIT from our own in-house servers and gives us the ability to track statistics and usage of the app through time. It helps us keep track of how WYRIT is being used and queried. Users must subscribe to use the mapping application. Subscribing creates the user's profile, which allows them to save results, queries, and projects to their own folders. So with the technology infrastructure in place, the next behemoth to tackle was creating customized symbology for the well data that we download from the Wyoming Oil and Gas Conservation Commission, WOGCC. Our data architect, Shane Singleton, took on the task of molding this raw data to give us the ability to create powerful symbology. And Shane is going to tell us about his processes in transforming the well data.
Okay, thank you. My name is Shane Singleton. I am the Senior Data Architect at EORI. And one of the biggest things that we've had to deal with the publicly available data is most of that data is related to the legal statuses of wells, and then 30, 40, 50 years of production data and injection data that are not all necessarily in exactly one place. So on this slide, one of the things that you'll see is if you were to just combine what we consider some of the most important characteristics of what describes a well's activity from the Oil and Gas Commission, there's a lot of different little legal codes. And if you were to mix them all up and just try to put them on a map, you're going to have 500-ish so combinations, which makes for a very difficult to interpret and parse set of symbols. So one of the very first things I worked on was we had to ask what are the most important things. We don't care at EORI so much about the legal status of a well, whether or not it's an orphaned well or because people are more interested in the activity of fields over the history. So we care about where are the wells located and whether or not they've ever produced or whether or not they've ever injected or if they're suspected to be a dry well. And the other thing that we added to it is the well a recently active well? So by our definition, recently active is any well that has produced within approximately 12 months. We flag it as a recently active well. And if it is not, then it is an inactive well. So we've basically done that, and we did that for both injection and for production. This lets us do some interesting little things. We can identify a well as both an injector and a producer at the same time with our symbology. And we did this by analyzing over 13 million rows of production data, and I gotta look at this slide. 1.6 million rows of injection data. 1 row equals 1 month. And we also generate some field level cumulative statistics that are used in some of the Kellie's layers as well. Is this my only slide?
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Thank you, Kellie.
Yeah. All right, now for the fun part, you guys, getting started. You'll access WYRIT through EORI's website, and you need to subscribe to access the map. Remember, this is what creates your user profile. Now, if you've already have subscribed with EORI, you are all set to go. You just need to log in. Your username and password give you access to all the maps located on our dashboard. Okay, I'd like to give you a demo of WYRIT. Now, because I did not want to put the full weight of this presentation on a live demo, I've created short demo videos to introduce you to the app. Let's go ahead and we'll click play. Here is our website, and that green banner at the top has the word maps. You're going to click on maps, and you're going to, if you haven't subscribed, you're going to click on that red banner. Subscribe to access the maps, filling out that form. Don't forget to click on that data disclaimer and click submit. Now, if you are freshly subscribing, you have to wait for that activation email before you can log in. Here are some thumbnails. You can click on that WYRIT thumbnail, and this is the application building. There's our splash screen. There it is, the Wyoming Reservoir Information Tool. There's our global search, sign out, ADA compliant. That toolbar runs across the very top of the mapping application, and it's grouped into tasks. There's the map view, the map area. You can pan it, and you can also zoom in. You can scroll your wheel. Over here on the left, those are our layers. Scrolling down to see all the layers that we've included. That blue checkbox, that means that that layer is turned on. You need to make sure your parent layer is turned on to see your sub layers or child layers. Those pluses are the expander buttons. That means there's more layers underneath. Down here, those are our base maps. There's our topo map. You can also turn on imagery. And we'll turn it back to counties. And over here, we've got our scales, our set scales you can zoom to. Notice when you zoom in, some other layers appear. We'll talk about that in a moment. Look down here in the lower left, data download, not available. We encourage and we want you to go directly to the source. All right, let's talk about the I want to button. This is a menu for common tasks. All right, there it is. It's the green I want to button. There it is. There you can sign out or open your projects, find information on the map. You can turn to the initial extent, the extent that the map draws to as soon as you launch the app. And we can open the legend. Keep in mind, you're only going to see the symbology for a layer if the layer is turned on. I'll show you that in a moment. All well data links directly to the WOGCC well header page. Data downloads are not available, but the user can go directly to the WOGCC website to download the data they're interested in. When you click on a well, it's highlighted over there. You're going to see the results on the left-hand side, plus a link to the WOGCC well header page. Interacting with features on the map is easy. You can click any feature to get information. Here, I've selected one well feature. The details of the feature are listed on the left in the results panel. Scrolling down the results panel will show you all the information we've gathered for that well. There are also production and well count charts that build on the fly for wells and oil and gas fields. Let me show you how we can select features. So the initial extent of the map when it builds. And here are our conventional wells. Let's turn them on. That's our progress bar showing you what the application is doing. And egads, that is chaos. That hurts my eyes, so I need to turn that off. But let's go ahead and turn on the topo map. Grab a landmark, and I'm gonna scroll my wheel to zoom in. Notice when you scroll in, you're gonna start to see the labels for the oil and gas fields. You're also looking at the township and ranges. Now, when we turn on conventional wells, this makes it a lot easier when you zoom in to be able to select a feature. Click on the feature, and you're gonna get this little map tips box. It found one well and one field. That box over there shows the same information, Kitty Field, back to the well, showing its API number. A little bit of data, but view additional details. Notice that the well is highlighted on the map, and there's the link to WOGCC. It opens as a new tab in your web browser. You can go back to the WYRIT tab that's running the app, and you can scroll down to see all the attributes we've collected. You can also drag that pull bar. You can expand that panel so you can see all the cumulative production for that well. Now, if you want to get information on multiple features, there are a few ways to do it. One way is to draw a rectangle or a shape around features to get more information. And the results panel will list all the features selected. Notice the features listed in the results are also highlighted on the map. These features can be selected or starred and saved for future use. We've built in added functionality, including production chart comparison between multiple selected features. All right, selecting multiple features, here we go. You can go to the I want to menu and find data on the map. Now notice when you click on that, you're gonna get this yellow ribbon across the top. It tells you what the application's waiting for. It's telling you what to do. So you're always gonna keep that in mind. And so we're gonna draw a little rectangle around some features, and it found 3 layers, 68 features. Township and range, wells, oil and gas fields. I clicked on wells. Lists all the wells that are selected there. You can go ahead and grab the stack and click chart view, and it is comparing those features in a bar chart, and there's the cumulative production for Kitty Field. You can close out by clicking on those X's. We're going to go ahead and grab that stack again and deselect all. And you're working your way. No, I think it started over again. There we go. All right, let's get to the next slide. Toolbar. These are some of the tools in the application toolbox. This application allows users to research data and perform analysis. There are commands that support feature highlighting and markup. It is also cross-platform compatible, works on desktop, laptops, and mobile devices. Intuitive navigation and interactive tools make it easy for both GIS professionals and casual users. Let's watch the video on the toolbar. And there's the toolbar spanning across the top of the application, grouped into tabs. Notice when you hover, you get information about each of those tools. You can turn on and off the labels, and you can close the entire toolbar if you need a little more real estate. Click it back open. All right, all the way over on the left, there is the home panel. It displays in that left side panel. Notice those tabs on the bottom. You can go back and forth between the layers and the home panel. Now, if you're done with the home panel, you can go ahead and close it out. User guide, a little more information about using the mapping application. This opens in a new tab. You can download this too as a PDF. Initial view. It draws back to the initial extent. Boop, previous extent. We go right back where we were. There's identifying that yellow ribbon. You can tap or draw a shape. There are the features it found as it highlights and flashes on the screen. Close it out. Pan, holding down that left mouse button, you can drag your map around. Also, you can zoom in. It's going to zoom into the center of that shape. Same for zooming out. It'll center to zoom out. Now, layer catalog. This is cool. There's a bunch more layers in here that you can add on. We're going to go ahead and add on the power plants. And you'll notice it'll add that layer right to the top of that layers list. We're going to toggle it on and off just so you can see it there. Now let's check out print. It's going to print that shaded area. You're going to fill all that in. It's going to give you a title. It's going to give you a scale bar. It's going to give you a north arrow. It's going to give you all that fluff. But export is going to export your image. It's just going to give you no frills. This is a good choice for adding your own text, including it in a PowerPoint presentation. Here you can upload your own data, CSVs, Excels, compressed shape files. And opening projects, saving your projects, save as. We'll talk about that in a moment. You can find data by drawing shapes on the map, query, and filter. We'll go into more detail about that in a moment. You can measure on the map. Click it. You can set up your units of measure, but there's that yellow ribbon. It's telling you what to do. Close it out. And you can also draw shapes on the map. We're going to draw an ellipse. There it is. You can edit this shape as well. Tools down the bottom over there. You can click on it. Click the edit button, and you're going to need to click on your shape that you drew. All those little circles, those are vertices or grips. You can grab them, shift them around, pulling them. Maybe this is your research area and you wanted to draw that shape. You can also export this shape to a shape file that you can download on your own computer. Layers, legend, and scale visibility. Here's the layer list. Let's go ahead and hit play for this little video. The layer list on the left-hand panel. We're going to toggle on the conventional wells layer. And there they appear. We're going to go up to that hamburger stack or that stack, and we're going to click on legend. Notice now you can see all the symbology for that layer. You can minimize that if you need to. We're going to go back to that stack and turn on the layer list back on. These little arrows and slider bars give you access to layer visualizations and transparency control. Here, let me pause this for a moment. Okay, do you notice these layers here for the PLSS, the township and ranges? Some of those layers, 3 of those layers, the label is grayed out and italicized. That's because there's a visibility scale attached to it. So watch when we zoom in. So we turn them all on, but you still can't see them. So I'm going to scroll in. And bam, there's the township and ranges. Notice the label. It's bolded now. Let's go in a little further. The sections, and a little further yet, quarters. And I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to pan back over, and I want to get that oil and gas field in view. And we're going to change the layer, the drawing order. Layers on top, draw on top. We're going to, for funsies, we're going to put the oil and gas fields on top. And we're going to go back, and I want to change the transparency level for the oil and gas fields. Notice when we reduce the transparency, it obscures the features below. You can always go right back to the default. And those expander buttons, those plus signs, those are those expander. There's always going to be layers beneath those. WYRIT allows allows users to control the symbology for many layers. We've got a transparency slider. We've got arrows to guide you to more layer visualization options, including changing the symbology and how features are labeled. Layer visualizations help the user to symbolize a layer in a more meaningful way for their research. The user can save all their personalized settings in a project. Let me show you how to change symbology. There we go. We're going to, remember, you need to turn on that parent layer to be able to see the sublayers below. There's that transparency slider. And that little arrow brings you to layer visualizations, toggling on and off the labels. So now we're going to create some custom symbology, and we're going to choose an attribute to symbolize on. We're going to choose producing horizons. Notice this. The fields with more producing horizons are a darker hue. The fields with fewer are a lighter hue. You can go ahead. We're going to save this project. You need to save the project if you want to return to it at a later time. Type a meaningful name and a description if that suits you. Excuse my slow typing skills. And then you're going to click Save and Close. Now let's just say you don't want this anymore. You want to go back to the default. Go ahead and click Default View. But if you want to open it up again, open, and there it is. Hit OK. And there we go. So I consider this one of these tips and tricks. Sometimes if you're working on a project and you have a certain way you want to see things or symbology you want to use or a color scheme, you can go ahead and save all of your setup, save it to a project. So when you come in, maybe the next day, you just open that project up and all your symbology and settings will be apparent to you and visible. Global search, simple yet powerful. You can type in any search term in the global search box and it will return layers that contain the search term. Let me show you. The global search box right up there. I'm going to type in bone pile. It's got a little bit of predictive text and it found 68 features in 3 layers. Oh, still looking for them. It's got them right there. We've got 1 oil and gas field. We've got 19 pipelines and 48 wells. Selecting that stack, let's zoom to all. Now, nothing's highlighting, but when we click on the oil and gas field, it flashes. Let's go back out, pipelines. Notice this, scrolling down makes the features flash in the map area. And conventional wells, let's select that. Notice them highlighting. Let's zoom to those wells. Scrolling helps them flash. Now, clicking on that stack, let's click on chart view, showing you that comparison, bone pile field and some of those wells. Now, if you like those results, you can go ahead and save them. You're going to need to select and star. You can touch on them, or you can go back up to that hamburger stack and you can click select all. Now, if you want to see these later, you've got to save them in a project. Here we go. Saving the results and giving it a name. There's that predictive text and click Save. Now we're going to back out and I'd like to save the state of this layer, of these layers, this bone pile information. Remember, to do that, you need to save it to a project. Here we go. So we're going to go over to Save. We're going to go ahead and put a title in there. So this is when you leave the app and you want to come back, you're going to come back right to this project that you saved and close it out. You can back out, you can close out X's.
Small technical problems. Microsoft PowerPoint is not responding.
Try it. There it is.
One moment.
All right, sorry about that, you guys. The query tool, this one's really cool. Allows users to interact with certain map layers and search for specific features based on criteria they define. And the results will show up in the results panel. Let's go ahead and take a look. There's the query button. And we are going, these are all the layers you can query. We're going to query conventional wells. And we're going to query the entire data set. We're going to query field contains Little Mitchell. I'm going to start typing it. You're going to see it's got that predictive text. Click on it. We're going to add a condition where the, let's see, current well activity contains oil. Let's add one more condition. I'm going to go up there and grab that scroll bar to see all the different attributes. And we're going to click on well ever injected. Let's do that. Contains, these are yes, no answers. No. Go ahead and click. Oh, the and or. And will have to, the operator requires all the joint conditions to be true or requires one condition to be true. So we found it, zoom to all, but we're not seeing the wells. We need to go back to the layer list down below and turn it on. There you go. And going back to that hamburger stack, charting view, let's check out these wells. Oh, we'll show the table view. So you can see it, this is the table view of it, all the attributes we have. You can grab that bar and scroll all the way over. We can chart from here. And when you hover, notice those tooltips. Also flashing on the screen. Go ahead and X out. And if you lose your layers panel, there's that little arrow next to the I want to menu that you can pull it back up. All right, the filter tool. Apply filters to data displayed in lists or layers. This is a common way to narrow down information visible based on specific criteria or attributes. There you see filters right next to query. It's pretty much the same as the query tool. We're going to filter for conventional wells where formation contains Menalusa. Add a condition, and we're going to look for current well activity contains inactive oil. Filter. We got to go to the layer list, turn those wells on, and there they are. I'm going to go on up to that stack, and I'm going to save my filter. Give it a name. Now remember, we need to save the filter And we also need to save it to a project so that you can return to it at a later time. Looks like I had a typo, click OK. Now we're gonna go ahead and we close that out. We're gonna go ahead and filter the oil and gas wells. We're gonna filter primary reservoir, where are you? There you are, contains Menalusa. Adding a condition. I'm going to choose primary reservoir status contains primary recovery and click filter. Well, I can't really see my fields, but there they are. So we're going to zoom in to get a better view and pan the map a little bit. And let's turn those wells back on. Saving that filter, giving it a name. I would suggest shorter names for your titles. If you want to give a little more information in your project, you can give a little description. So here we are, we're going to save it to a project. And this is how I learned, where you might just keep a short project name, and if you want, put the rest of this in the description. And then save. And close. Now, let me show you how to open that filter. So the initial extent of the map, there's that folder open, and there it is right there. Go ahead and click OK. And we're going to select a few features, drawing a shape. Got a little, grabbing a few features there. We've got counties, conventional wells, and oil and gas fields. From that stack, let's go ahead and look at the chart view. It's comparing the wells and their cumulative oil. And there are comparing the two fields that were selected. Notice this, you can click right on that bar for that well. It's going to give you all that information for that well. Let me show you how to open results. There are two ways to do this. Let's go ahead and click play. Opening results. Initial extent, when the application opens, you can click that query button and then click again on the stack. Open saved results. And there they are, bone pile, 48 wells. Let's close out. Another way to do it is by opening the project. Now, this is going to give you all those layers that we had. And click OK. And it zooms right to it. All your features, everything's flashing on the map. WYRIT helps fulfill EORI's mission. It allows users to access Wyoming oil and gas data easily, no expertise required. It helps identify exploration and development opportunities and supports IOR, EOR projects. It allows users to customize maps and highlight infrastructure and save their work. Even though data downloads aren't available, wells link directly to the WOGCC, where users can download the data themselves. We update the system 2 to 3 times per year, and maintenance of the map app is ongoing and always evolving. We collaborate with the WOGCC to enhance data quality and support Wyoming's oil and gas development. So I know that was a lot. I just gave you a whirlwind tour of WYRIT. I talked about its origin story, how it's grown and evolved, the goals we wanted to achieve, and a demo of the app and its shiny new powers. Now it's up to you. I encourage you to click around, tinker with the tools and the layers, explore different paths and tools to get your answers. There are multiple ways to get to the same answer. There's a whole toolbox of features and tools for you to use in your research. Are there any questions?
How much pipeline information?
Pipeline information on this mapping application is minimal. It's the same amount of pipelines you might find in our other mapping application for the pipelines, but as far as the details that we list, it's minimal information. Yes?
Hi, Kelly, I would simply make a comment that a number of years ago, we were operating the Bailey Dome Field, which is right across the road from Lost Soldier down Barrowell. And we were very interested in doing a CO2 flood of that field because of the proximity of the CO2 that was available. And had we had this type of facility available to it, it would have saved us a lot of money. We did not go ahead with the project because we hired a consulting firm out of Texas to dig up a lot of the work that's available right here in your program. But the long and the short of it was that the reserves weren't significant enough to justify the expense of putting a CO2 flare. So, but this is terrific. It's worth it done here. And it would be very helpful to operate in the same position as we were a number of years ago.
Well, thank you, Mr. Wold. Appreciate that. Tools, functionality, interactive mapping applications, they've come a long way. And they keep coming a long way. They keep evolving and including a lot more high-end, high-user functionality. Do we have any questions from our Zoom participants?
We had one comment from Karen Rogers, says, "This is a fantastic tool." Thank you. "Huge kudos to Kelly and Shane. If you'd like to add the federal subsurface mineral estate, BLM Wyoming just published it to our hub site."
Oh, nice. Thanks, Karen. We do have the federal mineral estate. It's in our layer catalog. You should be able to find it there. If it's not there, it'll probably be in the layer list. And that's because of you, Karen. I appreciate that help.
And then we have another one from Yvonne. "As an EDO, how can I help? Who would I send this information to?"
I would say this information would be great to any of the industry that you have in your county, industry operators, anybody looking for exploration, IOR and EOR opportunities. You can also send them our way and we can help them also get started.
Does that answer your question, Yvonne? She says, okay, perfect.
Okay.
And one thing I'd like to point out, we do have a representative from Wyoming Oil and Gas Commission here, Nicole, and I have to thank her every day, even though I don't actually do it every day, because without the work that they put into with their infrastructure and they're storing their data and collecting it from the operators and all that stuff, I would not have been able to do the stuff that helped her get this thing into this software here. So I'd really like everyone to just take a moment to recognize Nicole and the entire commission's efforts that they put in, because she's invaluable to us. We couldn't do things without her.
We are a team over there. We all do our little part to make the data go in.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a question from Casey Hall. "Is the tool able to overlay surface ownership?"
Yes, surface ownership is already included in there. It is in the layers list. You just need to turn it on. All right, I wanted to let you all know that we are recording this. So this should be available on our website in a short bit. I'll send out an email when it's ready so that if you want to go back to it to review it. Also, I'm working on including these demos into a user guide somewhere where the user can access it if they want to find out how to do specific or use specific tools. Well, thank you guys for the opportunity to demo WYRIT. It was a lot of fun, and I hope that if you haven't used it yet, that you'll sign up and start to play around with the tools. If you have any questions, you get stuck or anything, here's my contact information. Give me a call, shoot me an email. We can work on that issue or problem together. All right, thanks, everybody.